All right, moving on to our third question. One of the struggles that we have as voters in a primary election, and we see it, it's having multiple candidates with the same or similar core values and the same or similar political leanings. So, what specific qualifications, compared to Representative Van Taylor or other candidates here today, make you the most qualified to be our representative? And Mr. Ivanovsky, we start with you.
What specific qualifications make me, well, number one, I'm not part of the swamp. I'm an outsider. I'm a hard-charging, unrelenting patriot. I believe I'm the only person from this district who is a native. I'm not a carpetbagger. Van grew up in Midland, went to school in New Hampshire, and he's a Harvard graduate. Despite the Harvard degree, what has he done for my freedom? He hasn't stood up for my health, freedom, or my job. And if you don't have any of those, you have nothing. So what makes me qualified to do this? I'm a hard-charging patriot. I'm a former law enforcement officer. I have county and municipal experience. And I'm just a citizen now who's trying to save his country and stick to the Constitution. I yield my time.
Thank you. Lieutenant Colonel Self.
I defended the freedom of this nation from Grenada to patrolling with both the Brits and the U.S. in Bosnia, to Afghanistan, to the Persian Gulf for Iraqi freedom. I served you as your county judge for 12 years. You really need somebody who has been there, who's got a proven record. Many of you have voted for me many times in the past. I'll point out a man in the back there, who still carries a bullet in his leg on the border, Victor Avila. He has endorsed me, and I believe that I am proud to announce right now that as of yesterday, I have the endorsement of Lieutenant General Mike Flynn. Believe you me, Mike Flynn knows what it is to stand in front of what's happening, because he's been on the front lines of the America First. And I am absolutely not ashamed to say America First, because our nation is still the beacon of freedom. I want to be your person to go to Washington, to stand and thwart history and yell stop, because our liberties are worth it. Thank you.
Mrs. Harp.
Thank you. What uniquely makes me different in this race is obviously I'm a mom. I have loved this country since I was a little girl, right? This is the people's house. My private sector business experience with raising businesses, growing revenue, and negotiating contracts, I am often the only woman in the room, which has demanded that I be a different kind of tough. Tough to be able to stand your ground and get your point across. Tough to advocate for the one who does not have somebody to advocate for them. And when you have 4 children like I have and have homeschooled, you have a whole new perspective on how to raise up a country. See, when I was raising Blake and Haley and Jonathan and Thomas, I thought about that. As I was homeschooling them, I thought, what would it be like for them to lead our country as we're going forward? That's what we need in Congress right now, is somebody who is completely grounded and understands not only how to fix the revenue problem in this country, but how to look to the next generation and get them on board. Because right now, I'm telling you, that generation is looking to communism as the answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Ricky.
I've been a conservative all my life. The first president I ever voted for was Ronald Reagan. Now I'm in education. I have turned around campuses, I've turned around school districts with conservative values and conservative principles. Personal responsibility, hard work, accountability, and pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. Those are the foundations that I have lived under and lived by, and I have instilled in my children. And that's what I've done as a campus and school administrator. You know, many times a school district or the superintendent is the CEO of the largest entity in a school or in a city. You got HR issues, you got staff and faculty issues, You work with building programs. You work with food service and transportation. So all those aspects work together to when you're forming teams and strategic planning, and to get a school district operating in one direction for the children of that district to increase academic achievements. But it's all based on conservative values and conservative principles. And let me tell you this, as a conservative in education right now, it's a battlefield out there right now. And you need somebody in Congress that knows the landscape and can look after our children and fight back against the woke bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. for our kids, because we've got to get the federal government out of our nation's classrooms.
Thank you, Ricky. There's nothing further on that topic?
I'd like to say one thing.
Yes, sir.
So as a school administrator for the past 25 years, 35 years in the business, I've seen a lot of resumes and I've seen a lot of job applications. And I see a lot of red flags in Suzanne Harp's job history. Short stints in multiple jobs in unrelated areas does not make you a businesswoman. And Suzanne, I don't believe that what you're telling us is true. And if I can't trust you, I can't hire you. You've only worked for M&A for a short period of time.
Wow, that is first blood. Love it. Here we go. When you are an entrepreneur, right, you build business. Generational is an amazing company that I get to be a part of. This role was created for me. My chief operating officer is knocking doors for me. He was my client for 4 years before I came on. You see, I was with a data tech startup company with a gentleman from India who was in this country for 12 years and had a large cultural divide. And he hired me, and I got the privilege to help him build that company. I went to bed with India. I woke up with India.
Mrs. Harp.
So I will,
Thank you.
anybody who wants to stay after and go over my business degree with me and my
Thank you.
business pedigree, I'll be happy to. Thank you.
May I have 30 seconds?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I have a question. Madison Hart came to McKinney, Texas on December 13th. Madison Hart, he's a representative out of
His
North
name is
Carolina.
Madison Cawthorn.
What did I say? Hawthorne? I'm sorry, Cawthorn. Anyhow, just wondering why he came to North Texas. Madison Cawthorn voted on roll call vote 293 in the defense authorization bill for red flag laws. So that's a Second Amendment issue. A red flag.
Thank you, Mr. Ivanovsky.
Respond again. Is it my turn again? All right. Since 2016, I have
30
known
seconds.
Madison Cawthorn. He is a man of integrity. He is a freshman congressman. He's talking about the red flag laws and women to be drafted in the draft. Madison, believe it or not, made a mistake. His mother called me that day. We were on our knees praising the Lord and asking for guidance where to go. He was lied to by our own party. Now, though it went to the Senate, went back to committee, now went back to the House, and he got to vote on it. Red flag laws were out, and so was
Thank you, Mrs.
drafting of
Harp.
women.
Thank you. We ready to move on?
How many 30 seconds do you get?
Let's move
that's what I'm
on.
wondering.
I think I
So-
can handle
moving
DC,
on.
gentlemen.
We're good.
So how?
The
so
fourth.
how many? So how many 30 seconds?
Let's go
do
into
we
our,
get? That's what I'm
we're
wondering.
going to move on to our next question.